9:16. It's the morning show with Jeff and Will on AM 1700 WRCR, Haverstraw, WRCR.com. Welcome back, everyone. And joining us now, Tina Traster of the Rockland County Business Journal. Found that at rcbizjournal.com. Welcome to the show, Tina. How are you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, how is everybody?
We're doing well, thanks. Yourself?
Good. A little bit of a rainy weekend, but it's made for productive time, so that's good. Let's pick up where we left off last week when I did not have enough time. So looking at two stories that we've recently done, and they're both about the legal machinations of what is going on. One is in Piermont, one is in Nyack, and both involve zoning. In the case of Piermont, you know that we've been talking about a group of neighbors who oppose a plan for a rather modern multifamily residential building in the village's historic downtown. We've talked about that. We've talked about their reaction to the look of the building and its size and its the sort of what they say is the lack of character. But these residents are hoping that they can get some satisfaction in the courts rather than strictly at the planning board or zoning board or at the village level. So I don't think we got as far as to discuss that they had filed a lawsuit that was challenging the validity of the underlying zoning district and the village's compliance with open meeting laws. And that was filed in and around April 25th or so, shortly after the last meeting when the proposal was unveiled. Now, this is not the first time this developer has come before Piermont, but the latest development by Piermont Developers LLC was unveiled. And then for this 14-unit, 3-story multifamily residential building, and then the residents did a GoFundMe, and they raised some money to file a suit, and so they have. So initially, they were asking the judge to issue a temporary restraining order so that the village would be unable to move forward, take any action, or continue to hear the project. Initially, the judge did not issue this temporary restraining order and instead has set a hearing for this Wednesday morning. And we will see what happens next, but it is unusual for a court to tell a town or a village that they can't hold a public hearing. However, it is not without precedent, because last year a judge entered an order telling Orangetown that it couldn't hold a public hearing on, you may recall, the cidery, which is still an ongoing issue in the town of Orangetown. And Orangetown, it wasn't that they necessarily conceded to the order. In fact, they were not even a party to the case, but they did capitulate and they did delay their hearings on that case. Later on, subsequently, another judge at the same level, not at an appellate level, but at the same level, vacated that PRO, and the hearings resumed. So the folks who are going to court, initially, I think they want to have a win with a temporary restraining order. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if that happens. But the underlying case that's now before a court in Rockland County Supreme Court has to do with whether or not the village legally adopted a zoning amendment some time ago, because there is some contention between the village and the county planning department, which says it had not received what's called the GML, which would be the plans for this project, and has not had a chance to review and comment on them. And this issue has been resurfacing at the hearings. It does remain a question. The village of Piermont says that other agencies got this, this document, and that there's an affidavit from the village clerk that says it was sent to the county, and yet the county seems to maintain that it has not seen this document. I mean, this kind of just seems like an issue of, well, did you get this or didn't you get this? And if you didn't get this, well, here it is again. So it's hard for me to understand, why this kind of background issue isn't just sorted through. But that's going to be, I think, the real substance of if this ever goes anywhere in court. And I do say if. I guess that will be the substance, is whether or not this local law that created this central business multi-use district that now allows such a project, whether this was properly referred to the county planning department. And in the county planning department, they keep issuing a letter that says that the plan is, quote, jurisdictionally defective. And they say that because, like I said before, they have not had a chance to review this project under what's called the general municipal law. I don't know. The village says it's like I said before, that it's complied, and so it's just like this kind of dog chasing its tail over what seems very, very, I don't know, wonky. And we'll have to just see whether it gets sorted out behind the, whether it gets sorted out on its own, or whether it actually becomes the stuff of a legal argument. So those people are in court. That's happening on Wednesday. Unless you don't have a question about that, I will move on to something in Nyack that is also about zoning.
Sure, please do.
Well, this one is, I think this one's even more interesting, frankly. It seems like a little story, but I think it's actually very interesting. There was a business for, I think, 40 years called ABC Party Rentals. You've probably seen them in Nyack. They're on Bird Street, on that side street, and it's a warehouse, basically, and they've run that business forever. So the question here in this story is, what's happened in this story is that the owner has lost his prospective buyer after, to his surprise, the Nyack building inspector and zoning board of appeal, they've stripped the property of its non-conforming warehouse use. So at a certain point in history, before the zoning was in place, this building became a warehouse. It functioned as a warehouse for, I think, 4 decades or so. The owner of ABC Party Rentals buys another building in New Jersey, and I guess moves maybe the bulk of his business over there to New Jersey, but seemingly maintains this building. And actually, he's operated it for 16 years. And basically warehousing tables and chairs and party supplies and all that sort of stuff. So when he purchased a new warehouse in Hackettstown, New Jersey to expand his operation, he seemingly, or according to the lawsuit that he filed, he continued to use the Nyack location for storage. But when he put it on the market for sale in 2022, village officials initially said he had to do some upgrades on the roof and heating, but when he came to the village to get his building permits for work, he was told that he'd lost his, quote, non-conforming use status and could not sell so he could not sell the warehouse. So he's filed a lawsuit as well, and he claims that he never stopped using the warehouse on Bird Street, and that what the law says, and this is, I think, what's interesting to landlords or business folks or people in the real estate community at large, is that the law says that a property continues to function as long as the property continues to function, the non-conforming use, continues with that. But if it doesn't function for the space of a year, then it loses that status. Actually, there was similar rationale came up at the Grace Baptist Church issue too. The town of Clarkstown tried to argue that it hadn't been a school for more than a year. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch because the plaintiff here, or the petitioner, is saying that he's lost a prospective buyer over this because I guess presumably this buyer was planning to do a warehouse in what actually looks like very much a warehouse building, and that if they don't have the zoning for warehouse, then a prospective buyer would have to start all over again and get the zoning changed or do a special permit to be able to operate the zoning there. So what can be built there, just as an aside, is multifamily residential units. So it's just interesting, to see, how I think what we're really talking about today is how important zoning is, how important it is to have skilled people on planning boards and zoning boards. I've said that many, many times. Whether or not this is a good decision or not, I guess the courts will reveal. But this ends up costing a lot of people a lot of money. I mean, it's the owner of the building, it's the real estate brokers who were involved in this deal, it's the prospective buyer who probably, put some treasure into this, and then it's the village itself, which is going to have to defend this suit and have to, sort out whether or not, in fact, this building's non-conforming use is still intact or not. So I don't know. It's interesting.
And I'm sure you'll be following that on the pages of rcbizjournal.com. We will as well. Thank you so much, Tina, for joining us as always. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Okay. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks, you too. And for more information about rcbizjournal.com, just go to their website. You can get email newsletters and all sorts of tidbits of information there as well. Thanks for joining us here on the morning show this morning. Stay tuned for Hudson Valley Audiology's Listen Up Rockland. That's coming up next. Have a great day, everybody.